Well, how's it going, everybody? It's your old pal, the Credit Crusader, coming at you with his C.P.N Creation Workshop. Now, for the next hour, or however long it takes for us to get through this, you're going to be under my care. And I have a no man or woman left behind attitude. So let's get started. I'd like to first start off by thanking you for purchasing this. I mean, I'm going to tell you one thing. You are definitely going to be getting your money's worth, because I have crammed a ton of information, secrets that I have learned over the years. I mean, stuff that you can't find anywhere else. So, without further ado, I'm going to be going over phase one, which is the overview. Now, if this is stuff you already know, like what is a CPN, how can you use it, what can't you do with it, do they really work, is it legal? If you know the answer to all those questions, you can go ahead and skip to the next part. But for the people who don't know the answer to those questions, I'm going to be going over it right now. So, what is a CPN? A CPN is a 9-digit number that you can basically create an identity with. It's a key component in creating an identity on paper. You can build credit profiles with them. You can get into public records. It's crazy what you can do with these. So, I mean, that's basically what you're going to be learning how to make. Pretty much when it comes to an identity that's on paper, that's in like public records, databases, and all that stuff, you're pretty much a name, a date of birth, social security number, and an address. That is what you are as far as your identity on paper. Because you got to think, two people can have the same first and last name. Hell, two people could have the same first and last name and the same birth date. But, I mean, nobody has or should have the same social security number as someone else. So that's why it's one of the key components in helping identify who's who. Because, you know, these banks, the government, the credit bureaus, I mean, they got to keep track of millions of people. So they have to be able to do that as efficiently as possible. And the way they do it is by creating identities or credit profiles. So the next thing I'm going to go over is how can you use a CPN? Well, if a CPN is built up, meaning the credit profile that uses the CPN as a social, that identity, if that is built up, you can get things like credit cards, because you can build credit. You can get car loans. You can get apartments. You can pass a background check for an apartment. You can even get some personal loans. So, I mean, you know, it's definitely crazy what you can get with these things. But, I mean, a lot of things are possible. I've also heard of people getting houses with them by doing owner financing. Now, you'd have to get creative with that. But I've heard it, you know, that's something that can be done. I haven't seen it firsthand, though, so, you know, it may be iffy. But, you know, if I do hear for certain that somebody actually got a house with a CPN, I mean, I'll let you guys know. What can't you do with the CPN? What you can't do with a CPN is anything that has to do with the government. You see, the government issued you your social security number, so they know what name, date of birth, address. An address isn't linked to a social, but they know the name and the date of birth that's linked to that social security number. So if you were to try to use a CPN for anything government, they're going to know right away that it's bullshit. So that's something you need to avoid doing at all costs. So you can't get student loans with them, any loans backed by the government. Most housing loans, can't get that. Can't get benefits like food stamps, unemployment. You can't get a job with them. You know, you can't pay taxes with them. Also, you should never get, you can get a bank account with a CPN, but if you do get a bank account, make sure that you don't get any accounts that have an interest bearing. Because what's going to happen is at the end of the year when they go to, you know, send your taxes for the 2 cents or whatever that, you know, you made in interest, that could definitely cause problems down the road. So stay away from secured credit cards that have interest-bearing savings accounts with them, and stay away from anything interest-bearing, because, you know, it's just something that you definitely want to avoid when it comes to these things. Do they really work? Yeah, they really work. I know for a fact they really work. You know, it's crazy. Back in the day, I'm going to say, I don't know, around 2008, 9, I mean, you could get a CPN, add a trade line to it, and like the next month after it posted, get $50,000 in credit. I mean, it was crazy. There were people, and a lot of people didn't know about them back then, but there were some people, the people who did, they were getting CPNs, cranking them out like greased lightning, getting them, building them up, getting money. I mean, it was insane. Well, the banks have since caught on to that. The process in being able to get things has slowed down drastically, and some things you can't get at all. Like some credit card companies, I heard that they've locked people out, or so it's like it's definitely going to be a trial and error kind of thing. But the chances that you're going to be able to get something with this CPN are very high. So in my opinion, they're definitely worth building up. Now the next question, this is a big one. Is it legal? Well, that depends. Believe it or not, it's perfectly legal to sell a CPN if it's not somebody else's social security number and it doesn't have a credit profile attached to it. You can sell a CPN all day long. So if you were purchase this to be able to make CPNs to then sell, you're actually in the good. You won't get in trouble for selling a CPN. What you can get in trouble for is if you go into a car dealership and they smell a rat, or they think something's up. You can I've heard of people getting busted with a CPN and they get in trouble by going into places like car dealerships, walking into banks, being really ballsy with them. So my advice would be to avoid doing things that are going to put yourself out there when you try to use this thing. Which, I mean, and I'm going to be flat out honest with you guys. The best way, if you would like to keep yourself safe, if you know what I mean, is you want to, when you apply for things, you need to always make sure that you maintain plausible deniability. I'm just being real with you guys. If you walk into a bank and, you use the CPN, I mean, it's kind of hard to deny that, or in a car dealership. Now, I guess you could deny it and say, oh, I put in the wrong number by mistake. But, again, I've heard some people getting in trouble. So it's like, my advice would be keep it on the down low. Don't tell a lot of people you have it. Keep it on the down low. Be smart. And if you practice that, chances are you're going to be all right. So I've finished this part of my workshop. So now we're going to be going on to phase 2. Welcome back. All right, now we're on to making the number. So before we can actually make the number, we're going to need to collect a few things. First thing you're going to need is a name. Now, as far as the name is concerned, I've seen this done 2 ways. The first way is you use your real name. The second way is you make up a name completely. There are advantages and disadvantages to doing, each way. So I'll go over that, in this course. But as far as, the name is concerned, just your name, or you can pull one out of your ass. I've heard that if you make up a name, it's better to have a name that's a common name, because sometimes public records will link up on a name like, John Smith or something like that. And I've also learned or heard that if you make a name that looks like, or sounds like it's someone that's new to this country, like some foreign name, that's a good idea too, because a lot of these CPNs are going to be randomized numbers. I'll get into what that means later on, but randomized numbers are numbers that are issued or have been issued after 2011. So someone who's 30 years old, the only way they're going to have a randomized number is if they're an immigrant and they came to this country recently. So that's why it's sometimes a good idea to have, if you make a CPN, have the name be foreign. So on to the next part would be the date of birth. Now the date of birth, you can use your own date of birth, or you can make up a date of birth. That's perfectly fine. Date of birth is probably one of the easiest parts, about this because, it's easy. You can just make it up or use your own. Email, for that, I would just go to Google. Get Gmail. Gmail works perfectly. It's free. You can make as many of them as you want. So as far as email is concerned, just set up a Google account using the information, using the name of, the person or the CPN, whatever you named it, use that information. Because Google is definitely that's just another way of getting into public records is by having a Google account. Because this day and age, most people have Google accounts. The phone number. Now, the phone this is key. And this is where a lot of people screw up. And I've seen a lot of people screw up. Whatever phone you get, I advise getting, let's see if I can get it right here. I advise getting a track phone. One of these track phone smartphones. All right? And I'm going to tell you why. This day and age, a lot of times banks will try to verify you using your phone. And if you've got like a Google Voice number, or if you've got like a flip phone that's like super old that can't get on the internet, a lot of the systems that the banks are going to try to use to validate you are going to fail, and it's going to make it harder for you to get stuff. So I would strongly recommend you getting a smartphone of some sort as far as, your CPN is concerned for your CPN. You cannot use your real phone because the phone, you don't want that phone number that's connected to you, you don't want that to get associated with the CPN. See, the name of the game here is to keep everything different. Same thing goes for the email. You cannot use an email that you've used before. It's got to be a fresh email. Same thing with the phone number. Fresh phone number. Don't try to be cheap and, do some second line app or, do something like that because it'll bite you in the ass down the road. I mean, I've seen it happen. So my advice would be to go get a track phone. They're cheap. They're like $30. Then you have to sign up for it. Sign up for an account, and you can pay for, I think it's a year of service for, I think it's like $90 or something like that. You're not going to get a lot of minutes, but that doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that you have the phone active so you don't lose the number. One of the biggest things, or one of the, a mess up that can happen when you're trying to build a CPN is if for some reason your phone service, if you don't renew it and you lose your phone number, now you got to re-enter all that crap back into public records. It sets you back. So I strongly advise getting a track phone and getting the year subscription when it comes to it. It's just cost of doing business as far as this is concerned. Now the address, this is another key component of this. And I've seen so many people screw this up. If you're going to have a CPN that is the same name as you, it cannot have your same address. And if like you've lived at your mother's, it can't be your mother's house either. The address that you use has got to be something that you're completely unassociated with. So, I mean, that is the address is probably one of the hardest parts about building up a CPN is being able to get an address that you have no association with, because that's easier said than done. If you try to get a PO box or try to get a UPS store box or something like that, they're going to make you show your ID, and they're going to link it to you that way, because then they're going to take the address that's on the ID and they're going to associate it with the address that's at the PO box or the UPS store box, and it's all going to be for naught, because that's going to link the two up. That's going to link you up in public records. It's incredibly difficult. You can find office spaces, office buildings that will rent to you office boxes for like business mail and stuff like that. But as far as residential, I've yet to find a place that will actually rent you a residential mailbox and then do mail forwarding. I think I think it's something that's definitely looked down upon, or it could be illegal. I don't know. I mean, I haven't been able to find a lot of information about it. Legal CPN supposedly said that they provide that service, but I don't know. I don't really trust that outfit. So, I mean, as far as an address is concerned, try to get creative. get a friend or something, pay somebody. You got to get creative when it comes to this, but it's so important because if that address that you get links up, your credit profile is going to merge. So all the stuff that it's going to be for naught because the two profiles are going to merge together, and all the bad stuff, and is going to go on both credit profiles. I mean, the whole point of this is to try to separate the two. You don't want your personal credit report and personal identity to mix with the new one because the separation is what makes this valuable. So just always keep that in mind. Whenever you're using the CPN, never put an address that you've been associated with. Now, this only is if you're using your real name. If you're using a fake name, like you're just making up a person, fake name and fake date of birth, you can use your real address. But, in using a fake name, there's definitely benefits and there's negatives that go to it. So it's basically however you want to do this. Using a fake name is a great way to, build up a CPN, and it's a great way to make sure that the two profiles won't merge. But down the road, you're going to need to be able to get an ID for it, which that's a hurdle. You're going to need to be able to get a social security card, and you're going to need to be able to get, but it's a little harder to do. So just keep that in mind when you're making these, when you make your first CPN. I'd also recommend, don't just make one. If you're going to make one, make three, because screw-ups happen. I mean, you go in and you're trying to figure this out, and if you screw something up, these take a long time to build, and it's definitely an investment. You've got to come up with money for the phone. You've got to come up with, you could have to pay for the address, as far as paying rent for whoever, sending the mail and all that good stuff. So, you definitely want to make sure that, this turns into something that you can get something with, and not just like a dud, because some CPNs will work bad to the bone right out. It's like out of the gate. It's like, holy crap! I can't believe it was approved for that. And then others, you let them sit and you try to do everything right, and they can't get approved for anything. So it's like it's still kind of like a luck of the draw kind of thing. So that's why I always advise, don't just make one, make three if you're doing this personally. Also, make sure if you're selling these, make sure that you let your customers know the details about what they're going to need and all that kind of stuff so they don't screw it up. All right? So now I'm going to be going into actually how to create the CPN number. So for this part, I'm going to switch over and do a screen share thing so you guys can see the different resources I use. So let's go to that right now. Alright, welcome back. So now this is the part that you guys have all been waiting for. This is the part where we actually make the number. Now, I'm going to move this over so you can see what I've done. I've created the example info. I've got a name, John Kimball. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger from Kindergarten Cop. And just threw in a random birth date. I made an email account with Gmail. I got a phone number right here through TrackPhone. And then as far as the address is concerned, now for this particular instance, I just went on Zillow and picked a house that was for sale and used that. Now, as far as an address is concerned, like I said before, you need to make sure that, this is an address that I've never had any association with, but you also need to make sure that it's an address that you have access to the mailbox, because I know people who have made CPNs and they get this address that it's everything's working out great, but then they can't get to the mailbox. So when the bank sends them things like credit cards or offers, or sometimes the bank will send you a piece of mail or something to verify that that's in fact where you live, they can't get to it, so it's all for naught. So in this particular case, it doesn't matter because this is just an example, but as far as your address is concerned, you need to get an address that has no association to you, that you have access to if you're using your real name. If you're not, then you can actually use your real
address, because it's just going to look like someone else lives with you. The fake person lives with you. All right, so I'm actually going to go more into how this all works as far as, like, you know, the method to the madness kind of thing. The Social Security Administration started randomizing numbers in 2011. But, you know, prior to that, your numbers meant something, like the state you lived in and how old you were. So basically when you make a CPN, you're going to be using a randomized number. But you still need to know, like, the state that the randomized number is associated with, because down the road, as far as like a background check is concerned, they're going to ask you, like, okay, well, what state was your Social Security number issued in? It kind of doesn't make sense because you have a randomized number, but they can't tell if it's randomized or not. So that's why they're going to ask you that. So that's why it's important that you make sure that you know, you have the correct state you know, information. Now, as far as the state is concerned, it really doesn't matter. You know, you probably want to have the house and stuff all in the same state, you know, everything jives, but you got to think, people move. So it's like, you know, it's plausible. When you set this up, you got to make it look plausible. You got to make it look like, all right, this all makes sense. You know, you're trying not to, you know, do things that, you know, bring attention to it, like putting an ass load of trade lines on, you know, right out the gate. That looks suspicious as all get out. You don't want to do that. So right now I've got these two websites pulled up. I'm going to go ahead and show you them. I'm going to give you guys links to every website, so you guys have them. So when you go to do this, the links are right there and you know where to go. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go to this website, the Decoding Social Security Number, or is it stevemorris.org, and you want to go in here. And if you look down here, you're going to see all these different numbers, and it's going to say, you know, the state that it's associated with, or the territory. You follow? So, I mean, what you want to do is you want to go here. Let's choose 689. See, through the magic of TV, I've already done this. All right. 689. All right. No. How is it? There we go. So what you want to do is then you want to go over here to this website, which is called SSN Validator. I'm going to back out here. This is the number I entered in. I found one that worked, you know, so I didn't waste everybody's time by recording it, because it sometimes takes a while. Basically what you want to do here, I'm going to throw in a random number in here. Let's see, 689, no, 688, 51, and I'll just leave that. So, tractors. Shit. All right, cancel. No, I don't want that. Search. It's not been issued. All right, this is a good number as well. I'm going to try to find, you see, here's the deal. With the randomized numbers, they're in different groups than the numbers that have been issued. So if you find a number group, like, here, I have an idea, because I got to show you guys. This is another good website, Elf Quinn Cyber Lab. If we go to generate ID with this, let's just do, let's see, North Carolina. North Carolina. Hit generate. It's going to make a social security number that jives with North Carolina. But I'll bet this comes back as belonging to someone. Five 8091. All right. Robot. Traffic lights. Okay. Next. Damn it. All right. I hate these damn things. All right, this SSN has been validated. This means that this number belongs to someone. If you see this, this isn't a CPN number you can use. That's not a number you can use. All right? Also, here, let's see. I'm going to change the numbers on this just to see if it can pull. If it'll pull up another one. Like here, let's change. 641. I'm just hitting these numbers at random. Sometimes you got to go in here and you got to just keep trying them. Now, also you need to make sure you go in incognito mode or in private mode because they'll only let you do it a few times if you use your regular browser, like a few times a day. So you want to make sure you use incognito mode when you're doing this. Okay, this has been validated too. It says. What was it? The date of issuance, 1987. All right, this is somebody's social security number. We don't want to mess with that. Let's see. I'm going to try to get it to trip up the death master file thing. The death master file is basically if the social belongs to someone who's dead, they're notified and basically, the government knows that, see, this is validated as well. See, all these numbers that I've just picked are no good. Come on, give me a death master file one. See what we got here. Damn, come on. Okay, these are all people's socials. But like I said before, I'm just gonna put in. I gotta hit something here. 4144. All right. Actually, I know what we can do. We can just, I'll use the date of someone who's old. Yeah, these people are all validated. North Carolina. Okay, 19. All right. I'm going to see if I can try to get somebody who's older. Because chances are the death master file will come into play. So, in the year of 19, let's just go something like way back, like, 39 or some shit. I don't know, like way back, 36. In the state of, let's see, North Carolina. Alright. Unexplained error. Sometimes this site, gives back errors and it's wonky. So, I mean, hey, you know what I mean? It is what it is. I'm going to try to find, trying to figure out what, okay, those are the states. Damn. New Hampshire. Oh, here we go. Oh, this ought to be good. This is New Hampshire 1936 through 1950. So chances are these people are going to be dead. So let's go over here. I mean, I hope not, obviously, but let's see. 001, 01, and 3415. I am not a robot. Traffic lights, no. Next. Traffic light, next. Validated. All right. I'm just going to keep trying because it's important you guys see this. That's 01. 01. Let's go over here and see if we change these numbers. That's an error. All right. An error? Here. Try to read. Okay. 01001. So let's do 7512. All right, parking meter. But like I said before, yeah, that's right. I gotta here we go. Verify. Damn it. All right, continue. That's not the one I want. I want 001. 01 3122. Just accept. I'm not a robot. Taxis. You're going to be living in here for a little bit. I mean, you are and you're not, because once you find a group, all right, Death Master File, Jesse Hull. All right, this person passed away. So again, this is also a number you don't want to use. You want to make sure I'm going to show you the number when you start typing things in. I'm going to show you the one you do want to use, and that's this right here. So I already went and did this and searched for one. So let's see, 4331. All right. Try to save time. Sometimes you got to hunt a little bit, because what you got to do is you got to find a number that hasn't been used and that's not a part of the Death Master file. See this? This says, according to the U.S. government data, this SSN has not been issued as of the U.S. government's switch to randomization on June 25th, 2011. Sorry, this website is unable to verify SSN used after this date. So basically what this means is that this number is something that could have been issued to someone who was either just born, or who was new to the country. And that's the key. That's why it's kind of like, that's kind of why these work. Because they can't verify them. They can't verify that they are valid. They can, you know what I mean? So it's like, because of that, that's one of the reasons why these work. So now that you have this number, you make sure you write it down. So now, after having all the information here, I've got, I'll pull these out of the way. I've got, let's do this. Come on. All right. Anyways, I've got the name, the birth date, the email, phone number, the address, and now I've got the SSN or C.P.N. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down in my book so I don't forget. All right. So now we're going to try-merge this bad boy. Try-merging basically means creating a file at the Bureau. Now, when doing this, all you really have to do is apply for something. Now, because not all credit card companies or banks, they don't all pull from the same bureau, it's best to apply for something that's going to pull from all three. Capital One pulls a credit report for all three bureaus. I think Drive Time was one, Road Loans, I think some of the other ones that you can use. But, Capital One works, so, I'm going to go ahead and use them. So what I'm going to do is going to go on down to Capital One. Now that I have all this information, here we go. Capital One, let's see. Let's apply for a credit card. Credit card. All right, here we go. Platinum MasterCard. She'll do. So now, what I want to do is I want to fill in this information right here. You see? $800-0568. All right, you can say it's a mobile phone number. Employment status, say employed. Occupation, let's just say, you could pretty much pick whatever. Here, I'll put artist. Total income, I'd put down something like, for the first one, $56,000. Monthly rent and mortgage, I'd do something like $750. Do you have a bank account? I'll just say you have a checking. Even though you don't, it's all right. If offered, you should checks, advance. Yeah, sure. You're applying. You want to try to rebuild my credit. There we go. So here's more information. Blah blah blah. Yep. All right, and this is all the disclosure stuff. You're gonna hit continue. They're gonna ask you to verify all this stuff. Looks pretty good to me. Continue. Submit. Now chances are we're going to get denied for this, but it doesn't matter because the inquiry is what's going to create a credit file at the Bureau. Because what's going to happen is they're going to go, see, you can't approve me. That's fine. What just happened was they took all the information that I entered, they sent it to the credit bureaus. And the credit bureaus are like, hey, no one, with this information exists. So we're going to create a file for him. And chances are that is what has just happened. So now, after we just did that, we can try to get credit monitoring. So I'm going to do that in the next part of this video. Stay tuned. And we're back. All right. So now that we've found the number, we've entered all that information and applied for something over at Capital One, now it's the moment of truth. Now it's time to sign up for Credit Karma, Experian, Wallet Hub, all that good stuff. Now this part is very important because here's the deal. There are other people out there making CPNs. So if you guess the number that hasn't been issued, but somebody else has made a CPN, there could be conflicts and that could cause problems. And one of the ways to find that out is to try to sign up for credit monitoring and see what comes up. If you have pushback or anything like that, trying to sign up for credit monitoring, that's, a bad sign. So let's see if we can get this old doggy to run. So you're on your way to free credit, so you got to sign in. Let's see. Yep, you got to sign in using your email. So I wrote that down. Let's go ahead. Oh boy, you got to do a lot of typing. That's what it's about. Your password. All right. So now, it's now going to try to ask, the questions. Now it's trying to see if you have a file at the bureau. So, first name John, last name Kimball. Notice I don't use a middle name. Middle names just seem to cause problems. I would advise steering away from using a middle name. It's not needed, and it causes headaches. So, I would just advise not doing that. So let's go ahead and gotta get the address that I got. There we go. Pull that back up. So the address, we'll go ahead. It's 5327 Genoa. See, they don't autofill it with this. Farms, BLED. No apartment number, city, Sterville, Ohio. Let's see, Ohio. Zip code 43082. Gotta put the birth date in, of course. That's 4. See, they're taking all this information and they're gonna go and they're gonna check TransUnion and Equifax to see if there is any kind of report there. And if there is, we're going to get credit monitoring. If there's not, it's not going to work. 1982, last 4 of the socials. So we're going to use the C.P.N number, 4331. Yeah. Next step. Now it's probably going to ask me the series of questions. Mortgage loan? Nope. You don't have any mortgage loans. What's the total monthly? Monthly payment, previous reference account? Nope, don't have it. Your credit? In case you have an auto lease loan? No, I don't. What's the total monthly payment of that? None. Wow. I've never had it do this before. Usually it has the Zodiac or the street you grew up on or something like that. All right. Fire away. Because it shouldn't have anything on there. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Come on. 4? Wow, I've never seen that. Huh. 4 NA. I guess I have a credit score. All right. Okay, good. We have one hard inquiry. Boom, the Capital One. Perfect. All right, this is what you want to see. We've got the two inquiries, the one on TransUnion, the one on Equifax. That opened up the report. So it doesn't have, now this CPN is a blank file, but it did open up credit monitoring. So the next course of action after this would be to open up an Experian account, and then if that works, you're going to need to go, and I would suggest putting some sort of a trade line on it. Trade lines, all you're going to need is a 6-month-old trade line. The limit doesn't really matter. It's just got to be 6 months old, and that'll give you a score. Now, a 1-month trade line, AU trade line, will give you a score, a Vantage score. So, you can get a score to pop up on Credit Karma with an AU that's less than 6 months old. But to get a real score to really get you in is going to take a 6-month-old line. So that about wraps it up. I've taken you from start to finish as far as making a CPN, getting it tri-merged, finding the CPN, and then getting credit monitoring. Basically after this point, it's about building the CPN, and that's something that I'm going to be going over in another video series as far as taking it from a blank CPN file all the way to building it up to something that can actually get approved for stuff. So I hope you guys got a lot out of this. You can, now that you know how to make CPNs, you can sell CPNs, you can make CPNs for yourself. I mean, the sky's really the limit. But, again, what I suggest doing is, if you're going to make one, make at least 3, because, screw-ups happen, and sometimes it's like a luck of the draw. Sometimes you'll luck out and you'll get a CPN that just for some reason kicks ass, and then the other times you'll do the exact same thing on a different one, and, nothing works. It's crazy. It's like completely random. So, just keep that in mind. Hope you enjoyed the video. Crusader out.